Table discussion. Please welcome Professor Shin Nakagawa and Professor Kjell, who will moderate our roundtable discussion. Once again, the topic is on ASEAN futures, designers for urban dignity.
Professor Kjell, how we do? So at first I would like to do my very short summary of these 2 days. Of course, it is not perfect. Very lack of my knowledge or my feelings. So I'm very sorry. I apologize for us, but I would like to do a very short summary of this forum. Shortly, I would like to talk about 4 topics: hate speech in Japan, creativity, an approach, and role of arts. Through yesterday's and today's discussion, I was reminded current political condition in Japan. Political relationship among China, Korea, and Japan is not good now, very bad. Each country insists on its own interpretation of a territorial issue. It's a very heavy political situation among them. People who are working for enterprises in abroad are fully embarrassed, and the situation influences on people's emotion, our emotion. There occurs very serious social problem in Japan, that is hate speech. Do you know?
Yeah?
Hate speech.
Yes, I think people know that.
Okay.
I think many countries here, they know what hate speech is, how to promote their own interests and create divisions.
Yes, some people utter discriminative statement against neighboring nations. This hate speech is very radical and spoken while with demonstration on the street. Its purpose is not to attack others, but to exclude them, exclude people who are who are living in Japan. Its object is Chinese and Korean, but it could reach later people who are called minority, for example, gender minority and so on. It could be, as a result, people in community could be segregated into 2 layers. One, people who exclude, and another, people who are excluded. Freedom of speech is legally assured in Japan. And so we cannot stop this hate speech. It requires a great energy to act against hate speech. But I feel hope. Is there any hope?
Shall we ask the presenters to voice their opinion on what can we do in these times of social exclusion and speech that divides us, information that divides us.
Especially against hate speech.
Hate speech. Do you have any comments on that? Would you find that in Thailand, in other countries, would you find these speeches that divide us and what the
I think the recent political uprising, I mean, this is including the Reds as well as the current anti-government protesters. Sadly, a lot of the driving punches have included hate speeches.
How can we stop it?
Let's ask some of the people presented today. I think especially our DFA presentations, because I think even the group yesterday who presented on the ideas of
Yes, I would ask graduate students of Chulalongkorn University. It is a very serious problem.
Okay, about this question, I think Thai people, in my opinion, I can find the end of this situation, and I can answer about the end of the situation because the nation is not the end. The nation is developed to the future, but I can find the end with the nation. And I said about I have a hope, and I think whatever has happened is good enough for me, and I think all Thai people think like me.
May I add? I think she's implying, well, she's saying that beyond the rhetoric of nation building, beyond all the kind of hype and aggression, at the end, is for a better Thailand tomorrow. I think that's the gist of what she's saying. I think we're not in the habit, Thailand is not in the habit of protesting. I mean, this is historically referencing history. So in many ways, the voice that is coming out, I believe that she's optimistic about that voice. But of course, not the hate speech. But I think if hate speech is still not being recognized as hate speeches, that's when it's dangerous. The danger is when hate speeches is taken as the truth and the only truth. That is when we worry as a society or as a human race. So I think in many ways, the optimism involved with artistic production is our hope in that sense.
Thank you. Of course, it is very important.
I think also that we have just a few months before us before we are facing the cultural and political and economic integration of ASEAN. Are we prepared for that? Are we prepared to join hands to promote the whole region? And I know that you in the Faculty of Fine and Art are prepared to promote the culture of your neighbors. I know I've seen your performances outside of MBK. The first day we came here, you had a program for Cambodia. So this is a very good sign that you can confront this in a very positive way.
Okay. So I go back to this hate speech. Yes, in Japan, I feel hope because there occurs anti-hate speech group, and which is done by Japanese younger people, younger students. There is no segregation in this movement. Anti-hate speech is one of social inclusive activity. I mentioned last year that most important matter issue for social inclusion was accessibility to society. Here, today, I don't repeat it. Please read my article in the JUCR journal on volume 7, maybe. I don't repeat it today, but concerning it, I would like to refer to creativity, which Deeyah mentioned yesterday. Creativity is a matter, of course, in the context of artistic expression, but what Deeyah means is that creativity is necessary not for music composition or performance only, but for changing society or changing the world. Ms. Evelyn Lindner commented like this today too. As Deeyah says, women are surrounded by the world. You cannot. In order to change to the world, I can. Creativity is indispensable. I agree with your statements. Creativity is necessary in order to overcome the big serious difficulty.
I totally agree. Do you have any comments on the role that creativity must play in Thailand in the future and will play? And I know that our dean has stressed that very much. Last year we had this campaign for the creative city, and we have had the mapping of small creative units all over Bangkok. So I think we are supporting creativity in the urban settings as much as we can. Do you have any comments, Professor Busakon?
Yeah, I would like to add after listening to Deeyah, I found that it's true, it's quite true that less money, more creativity sometimes. Because like from the lesson, your life, about the inspiration, you don't talk about, oh, this money, that, and when we ask how did you get the money, you said you forced others to pay. But I don't think so. I don't think that you force others to pay, but you just show your ability, you know, as one of the human to protect others, especially those ladies, you know, in the old world that they're very being selfish and would like to take the power over their ladies in the country, something like that. So people pay attention to your speech and just give you money. And that's for travel. But for the project, and you said that you just ask, no money, please help. And great musician came to you right away, you know. And this is the lesson that I learned from the creativity, that nothing much about money, but you learn from not having money and have creativity and how to do it. Thank you very much, Deeyah. And I would like to thank to many projects that don't talk much about how to raise money. No need to talk about that, and talk about how to establish very good project to the world without money, but just show your ability and your wish, your hope to the, you know, many people, and you get people included in your project, you know, like people in many different it's a kind of multicultural people in the world. You travel around and you show your sincerity, you know, you great stamina to help the world. And the creativity could come, you know, day by day because of that. That was, I believe, about the creativity in one aspect, the relationship between creativity and money.
And as you know, there are two types of creative city theory. One by Florida, another by Landry. Maybe we prefer Landry to Florida's theory. Okay. Apart from issue discussed yesterday, I would like to illustrate creativity, which has been very required in Japanese case. I'm sorry, I am Japanese, so I just always Japanese case. This case is a recent natural disaster which happened 3 years ago by tsunami. It is quite different from social discrimination issue, but this disaster causes many dead people, many deaths, and communities collapse. A key word for recovery is also creativity. Ordinary problem can be solved with a manual, but an emergency problem cannot be done. An expedient reaction is requested, and creativity works in such case. In 2006, there happened a very great earthquake in Indonesia. At that time, the project Creative Music began. This project was an ambitious attempt to reform the basis of music education for children in the disaster. So, this program sought to enhance children's abilities with regards to musical improvisation. The lesson that was learned from the project was that one needs to make instruments out of objects in one's own everyday life and creatively develop one's own music. The goal of this project was not only to create new musical expression, but to exercise creativity in all aspects of daily life and earn a livelihood. In other words, it was thought that making creative changes and prompting society were two things needed in the village suffering disaster. Creativity is an extremely important factor in building in terms of both resulting communities and destroying communities and resolving social problems. Investing in creativity is also an educational investment in communities' futures. And also this project has been transmitted in Japan since the great earthquake 3 years ago. As Mr. Tom Gravel told yesterday, music activities create change of attitude among children. In classes with many activities, the mobbing and teasing declined considerably. As a result, the immigrants had strengthened their cultural identity. Of course, case of natural disaster and that of social problem or conflict are quite different, but music can work for both cases. Professor Svanibo Peta illustrated how applied ethnomusicology has become more widely to cover various social problems in urban context. Yes, we need a very practical strategy of disciplines which leads us to a place that is very close to a space where socio-cultural activists play a crucial part.
Svanneborg, do you have a comment on how to create better citizens and realize this goal of investing in creativity as an investment in the community? You have some very good examples there, I think.
Yeah, well, thinking about creativity, my minds go back to the times of the war in former Yugoslavia, and my wife at least always tells me that I work too hard, but at that time I was working much more than now, and then we were so much taken by this idea to help people, to make our life useful, our work useful to the others, to those who really needed it, that we were not thinking about, as Busakon said, about money, about anything else. We just have good intention to really apply our knowledge, our understanding and our skills to make lives better. I didn't tell you yesterday, this is the publication of the International Council for Traditional Music. And this newest volume will tell you better than anything else how applied ethnomusicology actually came up. The topic of this volume is music and poverty. I don't recall any other publication that worked actually that has this as a topic. And I think it shows that things are moving actually in this direction. And personally, I'm very happy to see this development.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm also a member of ICTL.
Tom.
I'm looking at the last thing here. Investing in creativity is also an educational investment in community futures. I think that it's a good thing that projects can be carried through with little or with almost no money. However, I am of this opinion that it is an obligation for the politicians to serve a nation, and culture is a very important thing of a nation. And then we have also to supply with funding for this. And I know something about it coming from Norway, that have taken the responsibility, the politicians, to give a good seed for creativity through sustainable funds that are channelizing to the artists, so they have one body that they can apply it through. And that is funding every year. It's the Cultural Funds of Norway. Every musicians or artists can apply it there. And I think this is a very crucial base for the artists. You are free to do your things, but you will get the funding, because this is no Still, this is not a political steer. It is free for everybody to come up with good programs. My organization, Concepts Norway, was founded 45 years ago. It was a pilot program of the Norwegian Culture Fund because they saw that it was necessary to have a funding with an institution to get out to the population. So this was a test program for 3 years. And the results after that was so good that this was established as a part of the Ministry of Culture. This is good thing for creativity, because then the artists don't have to run around and looking for money. Artists should be creative. They should create art. They should not look for money. They should have one place that they could rely to. I think that is a very good thing for a nation to do. That leads me also to another thing. As I understand, the ASEAN country here is about to make a new cultural policy. And I think if some of you have the option to try to get the politicians to understand how important it is also to act together in the region. That is also a very important thing. I've seen it in the SADC country. I've been working in the SADC country, and I see how that relies into exchange between artists over the nation countries. I can see also from the Norwegian side that when we are doing programs in South Africa, the ministry tells us also it should also include connections and exchange with musicians from the SADC countries. So even if we are in one country, that can also gain the other nations around. I can see it also in the SAARC region, when we are working in Bangladesh and India and Sri Lanka, how we can easily make joint programs with Norwegian money, because we are in the same region. And then it's easy to tour musicians, not only to come to India and go back. They are touring there also. So I think this is a very important opportunity for you to really come on board and ask your politicians to lay some pressure to get these things going in this region as well. Thank you.
This is the last topic. Role of art, very big issue. So, but only 2 lines. The role that the arts play in society is rapidly changing, largely because people have started to use the arts to solve or deal with all kinds of social problems. Art is being utilized in contexts completely different from those used in the past. But, where art stood on its own in events such as concerts, exhibitions, that is art as beauty. Art touches many different spheres of recovery, including the poor, the handicapped, the homeless, alcohol or drug-dependent people, long-term hospital patients, the elderly and convalescents, ethnic minorities, HIV-positive individuals, homosexuals, and prisoners also. What these people all have in common is a limited or blocked access to society. Arts can work for many things in this sphere.
Yes, I think this is a very, very important point, to open the eyes of communities and also politicians, artists everywhere, to the possibilities of solving problems. It is an age-old practice that has been practiced for centuries among tribal populations, getting together with the problems, solving them collectively through rituals, including dancing. And our great Fridtjof Nansen, peace activist, as Nobel Prize, discovered this in Greenland, in tribal societies, even when there is murders, even when two different tribes are in grave conflict, they get together, they get out their drums, they get out their voices, and they make music together, and they solve their problems peacefully. So art could be facilitator and a mediator, even in greater conflicts. Deeyah, could you tell us a little bit about what you think about this point of the artist and the possibility of art to bring people together through sharing a common, sharing their cultures? You have us. They can change the world are the people that actually do it. So this is a challenge for us as artists and as
For or create beautiful arts. Of course, what is beautiful arts? This is very serious question. And arts and artists should not be isolated, should be connected something, or something neighboring fields, or should be connected to the people, each other. So, thank you very much. Now I would like to close today's forum, and I thank very much for making your efforts to contribute to having this nice forum to people, committee, or students here, and so on, and dean of the faculty. Thank you very much.